Well, welcome everyone to Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game. I'm your host, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and money color commentator. On today's show, retirement planning requires adjustments, part one in our series on retirement tips, our 2018 update with registered investment consultant and investment advisor representative Ted Meyer. Welcome to the show, Ted.
Thank you for having me, Steve.
Well, we're doing our update.
Yep.
You know, we're going through it again like we always do every year with you. And, you know, a lot of things have happened. And I'm still stunned, and we're going to we'll talk about it. One of our talking points is, I just did 2 seminars last week, and I asked everybody in the room, be honest, do you have a plan for retirement?
Right.
No. These are all my baby boomer,
Yep.
you know, born between 46 and 64. All of them are in there. Nobody's got a plan. They got a mortgage, but they don't have a plan. Talk to me about why. We never had a budget all those years. We never had financial education at school. Tell me about why this is so important, especially in retirement.
Well, I think it's so important in retirement because once we get to retirement, obviously, what have we done? We've stopped working. And when we were working, we were just so busy collecting money, making money, buying things, accumulating our wealth, that a lot of folks got to retirement and they never really put down a plan on how to get from the day I retire all the way through it. And most advisors these days don't do that as well. So most advisors help them accumulate the money, but they didn't go out there and take the next step and say, now that we're retired, how do we take constructive distribution? How do we start consuming this money? And so folks typically spend more time planning vacations than they really did planning their retirement, the largest phase of their life.
Well, I'm thinking if I'm going to, let's just say a representative, a financial consultant, who has been asset allocating for them all these years, accumulating money. Great,
Yep.
that's great.
Sure.
But how many of those people know how to take distributions from a tax point of view? From my Social Security benefit point of view, from RMD point of view. I always worry that certain people are niche, and a lot of people that are good asset allocators in securities, mutual funds, EFTs, individual stocks and bonds, they may not be that hot in a planning mode or tax, proactive tax planning.
Correct. Yeah, most advisors out there are in the accumulation business. When you look at the broker world, you look at the Ed Jones, A.G. Edwards, the Merrills, the Fidelities, it's all about accumulating assets. And so you asked the question a minute ago about how many of these folks help you take constructive receipt of this money. I don't know that number. I just know there's a growing number of advisors out there that are specializing in this market now, where they've got clients who are picking up at the age of 55, 57, 60, because they're starting to be concerned about Social Security distribution. They're thinking long-term on long-term care. They're thinking about RMDs, and they just know that their current advisor isn't bringing a lot of information to the table. It's more reactionary. The advisor will go get you the answer if you ask the question. So what I'm finding with a lot of these seminars we're doing, the folks that we're talking to, the things like RMDs, constructive receipt of distributions from whether it's qualified, non-qualified, taxes, Social Security, Medicare, this is all brand new to them. They know it's out there, but their guy's not talking to them.
You're talking my language. I just, last week I did 2 seminars, public seminars. So all I did was talk about the 3 government programs, Social Security, Medicare, and HECM, Home Equity Conversion Mortgage.
Yep.
Nobody knows anything about hardly any of this. They know about Social Security, but they don't know what the max benefits are, how to play the game.
Yep.
There's a lot of nuances. Now, we talk about making adjustments here. You know, I mean, I cannot imagine not making an adjustment. You know, like I in the old days when we used to do our car, you know, there wasn't electronics, so they go in and they make an adjustment to the distributor and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
And they'd have to do this timing thing, right? Okay,
Yep.
Today, I thought, most people say, hey, I finally did my retirement plan, Ted. Can I just set it and forget it? Right?
No, you can't.
No, you can't.
No, you can't.
Right.
I had a guy in my office last week, just retired. He's right at 60, and the risks that approach him now that he's retiring, when he's no longer taking a paycheck and he's now in the consumption phase of his income, or I should say of his retirement plan, which is, again, folks, when you retire, one thing that I want you to all understand is when you're working, your retirement account is your 401k or your 403b, 457. But the second you retire, it's everything you own. It's your home equity, it's your bank account, it's your non-qualified account, it's your 401ks, IRAs, it's your Social Security. All of that stuff comes into play. And a lot of folks don't look at that way. But back to the guy I had in my office. He had just come in and he said, well, if I could just get 7 or 8% rate of return like I've been getting the last 7, 8, 9 years, and I'm only taking out 3 or 4%, getting 7, taking out 3 or 4, that should work. Well, that works when you're not taking the money, because we don't continually get 7, 7, 7 every single year. We might get 7, we might get 15, we might lose 30 like we saw, or 40 like we saw in 2008. So sequence of returns becomes so much more important. And when we sat down, I looked at his 7% rate of return versus a 4% distribution rate. It doesn't always work out the way you think it should.
Well, not only does it not work out, it hasn't worked out. I mean, I'm thinking of the people that were in Gen X and Gen Y. They come into the workforce in the year 2000.
Yep.
Then we have an immediate 2001, 2, and 3 compounded losses in the S&P 500.
Correct.
And I'm just using that as an indicator
sure.
of the overall market.
That's what most everybody uses.
So my son goes, what's with this? I put this money in and we lose 3 straight years, we lost. I said, well, welcome to retirement health, you know?
Yep.
Now, then we get sent in there and say, okay, I know that I need to meet with my person that's a full, holistic, comprehensive retirement planner. Can't just have an asset allocator, can't have an insurance agent. I need somebody who knows taxes. I need somebody that has this, or if he doesn't, he's the quarterback of a team that does.
Correct.
Okay, so I'm heading in, and this is the danger zone. The Prudential's put this out. Several carriers have put this out as a kind of a boilerplate. They say the 5 years before retirement and the 5 years after retirement, that 10-year, that's the decade of danger.
That's the retirement red zone.
Yeah. Why is that so dangerous?
It is so dangerous. I won't say it's so dangerous. It's so important to understand into the success of your retirement, those 10 years. Specifically because what if you're retiring in, as we look back, say 2006 was your retirement date. And in 2001, 2, 3, you're still investing like you were investing for the long term, and you got clobbered. Mm-hmm. Well, we were close enough to retirement that we should take a look at this, because returns play a huge point or a huge factor in how you're going to draw money out. Mm-hmm. What if we retired in 2000 and we just kept investing like we were? And the first 3 years of retirement, we got hammered with losses in 01, 02, and 03. This retirement red zone is unlike any other time in your life financially. It is the most important and critical time to pay attention. Not only is return important, but the sequence of those returns is important. Because if we retire at the wrong time, and we don't know when the wrong time is, we're going to retire when we want to retire. But if we don't pay attention to how diversified we are, how invested we are, how much we have at risk, this sequence of returns of 3 negative years in a row, say 2001, 2, or 3, or go back to 2008. If you retire in 2007 and you're taking out 6% withdrawal in the very first year, the market goes down 40%. Effectively, that's a 46% withdrawal that first year. How many people had the stomach to stay in there and keep going? Not a lot.
Well, let's go to the other part too. Do you have the money to survive it?
That's exactly right.
And here's the when you think about it, not only are we not doing plans, and if we do have a plan, we're not making adjustments, but we're talking about being in the market, securities. And when we are, do you even know your risk tolerance?
Yeah.
I mean, my psychonomics today in my 60s is not the same as it was at the front end of my 50s.
Not even close.
It's not the same. I've changed my port. I went through 2001, 2, and 3, 2008, the lost decade, right? Nobody made any money. All right, now, so we not only have to meet with our planner, we have to make adjustments every year. We have to do a risk tolerance test. Now, listen, I know it's not pure science.
Correct.
But it's a good indicator of where you're at. And
emotionally.
You need to be true to yourself.
Absolutely.
So we have 3 areas that we've knocked out. Now, we talked about the 10 years. Then we have the go-go years, the slow-go years, and the no-go years. These 3 10-year periods, right?
Yep.
I'm in my go-go year. We're going still. I mean, I haven't felt, except for, once in a while where I'm really just tired and I got to take a nap. I feel pretty good.
Okay.
There's going to come a time when I'll do the same things, just not at the pace and not as often.
Correct.
It'll be slow-go years. Then I'll have the no-goes. I've noticed that when you slow down, you spend a little less. And just about the time you spend a little less, I get eldercare issues, long-term care issues.
Correct.
I have medical issues that Medicare doesn't pick up. So how do I look at these 3 little phases and plan for it?
Right, exactly. So as you so eloquently said, it's the go-go, the slow-go, and the no-go. And when you go to plan for retirement income, what you want to do is figure out, when do I want a lot of this income? Some traditional planners might say, well, we'll give you the same amount of income all the way through retirement. Well, okay, but I don't know if I need as much money when I'm 90 as I will when I'm 65 or 70. So the way to look at this is kind of figure out what your lifestyle is going to be. Look at your health. Look at longevity. How long do I want to be in the go-go years? I'm out, I'm traveling and seeing the grandkids, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm going to need more money in that time than I will in the slow-go years, as I said, or as you said, when you start to slow down. And instead of playing golf 4 or 5 days a week, I'm playing maybe once or twice. Instead of a half a dozen trips a year to vacation or see the grandkids, it's 1 or 2 trips because I just can't do it anymore. And then when we get to the no-go years, exactly, all that money we're using to fund our lifestyle to keep going, medical issues might arise, and we might start using that money in a little bit of a different capacity, taking care of medical issues that Medicare doesn't cover. Now I've got long-term care issues. I might have memory issues. So when you sit down and want to plan for this period of time, you've really got to take into consideration specifically your concerns. How long do I need to be in these areas? How much money do I want? And how do I address all of this stuff as I go forward?
Well, listen, don't forget to watch our next segment on Risk Tolerance Psychonomics, Part 2 in our series on retirement tips for 2018 update. And keep in mind, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always check with your tax consultant, legal counsel, or in this case, your financial advisor. You've been watching Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game.